Hey guys, welcome back to my channel AG Motion Designs, and in today's video we are going to create this Google logo animation inside of After Effects without using any third-party plugin but with the help of Adobe Photoshop and Adobe After Effects. The best thing about this animation that you can apply this animation type to any of your logo. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. So as always, here we are in Adobe After Effects. We will create this new composition and we'll call this composition as main animation as always. Oops. Yep. Width is 1920, height is 180, frame rate is 30, and duration we are not gonna choose any long duration, so I'll choose 10 seconds. And background color, make sure that you are using white color and simply hit OK. Then choose grid and guide option and hit title selection and make sure that it's in fit format. Yeah, now hit Ctrl N to create a new composition, and I'll call this composition as 1. And over here I'm disabling this log aspect ratio, and width I'll choose 800, height I'll choose 800, and we will create this composition and hit OK. Now over here we have to create some animations, so I'll choose my ellipse tool, and over here initially I'm going to choose black color. By holding shift I'm going to create this ellipse, then press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point to the center. Select our selection tool and move this over here. Press S for scaling option and scale it a little bit. Press Ctrl Alt Home again. Good. Now press P for position. Create one keyframe. Go to 15 frames. I'll move this over here. Go to 1 second. Ctrl C, Ctrl V, copy the first keyframe. If you see, we will get this kind of animation. Now select those keyframes, hit F9 to ease those keyframes. Go to the graph editor, make sure that you are in speed graph. If it's not like that, so simply right click over here and make sure that you are choosing speed graph. Now select this graph by holding shift and move this, select this handle only, move this over here and move this over here. Now if you see, we will get this kind of animation. Now select this layer, press S, create one keyframe over here, zoom in a little bit, go to the 5 frames, again create one keyframe, go to the start and let's make it 0. Select those keyframe, hit F9, go to the graph editor, select this graph by holding shift. I'll move this over here, so we'll get this kind of pop-up. Now hit U so we can see all the keyframes. Select this scale keyframe, hit Ctrl C, Ctrl V, right click keyframe assistance and time reverse keyframes, and I'll move this over here. Yep, this looks good to me. Now I'll select this, I'll hit enter and I'll call this at ellipse. Now hit Ctrl D, press P for position and click on this position text, so it will select all the keyframes. And now I'll move this entire animation over here. If you see this, you will get this kind of results. Go over here and again shift it a little bit like that. Now I'll choose my pen tool and I'll type N type animation. Go over here and by holding shift move this over here, then over here and then over here, so it's in the form of N. Now we don't want any fill over here, so I'll delete this fill. We want only stroke, so I'll choose stroke black and I'll increase the stroke width somewhere around, let's say 80. Now as you can see, we have some weird things, so we need to fix that. So I'll go to the content, shape 1, stroke 1, and I'll choose round cap. Now as you can see, the corners are sharp, so for that what we'll do, we will go to the contents, we will go to the add menu and we will get this option called round corners. Click on it, go to the round corners and you can increase the something like that. Now I'll select this selection tool, we will select this one, select this, choose pen tool, select this one and by holding shift select this one and move this over here. Same thing, we will select this out and this one and by holding shift move this over here. select this one, drag it down. Yep, this shape looks good to me, like that. Now we will create some trim path animation. So I'll go to the add menu and we'll go to the trim path. Go to the trim path, let's make it 0 first. Create one keyframe at the start and one keyframe at the end. Go to around 20 frame and make 100 for both of them. Select the start keyframes and move them a little bit forward. Now select both the keyframes and hit F9. Again we will select the start and we will move it a little bit forward. So we'll get something like this. Now I'll select this, I'll hit Ctrl D, press R for rotation, and let's rotate it on 180 degree. So we'll get something like this. Now our animation portion is done. Now we have to adjust the timeline. So I'll select this ellipse 2, I'll go to around 10 frames and I'll move this over here. And at this point I'll select the shape layer and I'll move this over here. Go to 20 frames and I'll move this shape layer over here. So if you see, now we will get this kind of animation. Now our main animation is done. Now we will go to the Photoshop. I have this Google logo over here. We have to separate each and every alphabet as always. So I'll go to the filter, not filter but select. I'll choose color range, and with the help of the speaker I'll select this white color. I'll increase the origin is full and I'll hit OK, and I'll delete this white color. I'll hit Ctrl D to duplicate it, but as you can see we have some disturbance over here. So I'll hit Ctrl Z and I'll hit Ctrl D again. I'll go to the select, I'll choose color range and I'll choose this white color, and fuzziness will add 50 only, and then I'll hit delete. So as you can see we are not getting any error over here. Now I'll choose M to select our rectangle mark tool, and I'll select this G. I'll hit Ctrl X, I'll create new layer and I'll press Ctrl Shift V to paste in place. We will follow this procedure for all the alphabets like that. And I'll save this file. Now all the alphabets are on separate layer. We will go to After Effects, we'll go to the main animation. I'll hit Ctrl I to import my logo file. This is my logo file. Import as, I'll choose composition, written layers and sizes and simply hit import. I'm not gonna change anything over here. Simply double clicking on it and open this. I'll hit Ctrl A to select all of them. I'll hit Ctrl C to copy them, and I'll go to my main animation and I'll hit Ctrl V. So as you can see we have this things over here. So I'll move them over here, right click, new, and create one null object. Select all of them and make it a parent with this null one. Select this null one, press S for scaling option and scale it at appropriate size like that. This looks good to me. I'll delete this. We will reduce the size later, but right now all we need to do, as you guys know, we have this logo and they have some separate colors. So for that I'm gonna select all of them. I'll hit Ctrl C, I'll go to 1 and I'll hit Ctrl V and I'll press S for scaling option and I'll adjust them like that. The only thing I want from them is their colors. So as you can see this is my first ellipse. So I'll go over here in fill, I'll choose the speaker and I'll give this blue color. Then we have this circle. I'll go to the fill and I'll choose red color, hit OK. Then we have this stroke. I'll go to the stroke, then we will choose this yellow color, and then for this last stroke I'm gonna choose this green color. Yep, so I'm gonna delete these things now. So as you can see we'll get this kind of animations. Now I'll select those strokes and I'll bring them down because I want ellipse first then stroke, and if you want then you can select those ellipse and you can change the size of them if you want. It's not necessary, but right now I'm not gonna change anything over here. So now we will go to main animation. Now I'll select this one, I'll bring it down over here. As you can see this is my main shape. So at this point I'll press S and I'll scale it down. I'll move this over here, hit Ctrl D. By holding shift I'll move this over here, hit Ctrl D again, move this over here, hit Ctrl D, move this over here, hit Ctrl D, move this over here, and hit Ctrl D, move this over here. Now right click, by holding shift, I'll select all of them, right click, go to the time stretch, and let's make it 70. So our animation will look a little bit faster, just like that. Now we will hide this. We will select all of them. We will press P for position, create one keyframe, S for scaling option, create one keyframe, R for rotation, and create one keyframe. First thing we will do, we will create scaling animation. So I'll press S. As you can see, all the scales are 50-50. So initially I'll make them 0, go to 15 frames, and let's make it 50. Go to the start, select all the keyframes, hit F9, go to the graph editor, select this graph by holding shift. I'll zoom in a little bit first. By holding shift, I'll move this handle over here. Yep. Now we will press P for position. As you can see, we have created one keyframe over here, and around 25 frames I'm gonna create again this keyframe, and in middle of them I'll move them over here. Now select those keyframes, hit F9, go to the graph editor, select this middle one by holding shift, move this over here and move this over here. Now press R for rotation. Now on 25 frames I'm gonna rotate it on complete one rotation. Now select those rotation keyframes, hit F9, go to the graph editor, select this graph by holding shift, move this over here and move this over here. So we'll get this kind of rotating animations. Now we will hide this thing for now. We will focus on this one first. Now this is my first, so I'll, after a few frames, I'll move this over here, this over here, this over here, and this over here, and this over here. If you see now, as you can see, the position of first one is not proper, so hit P. I'll select this P also. I'll hit 540, so I'll make it 540 only on y-axis. So we'll get something like this. Now what we will do, we will adjust this alphabets also like that. At this point I want this O, so I'll move this over here. At this point we will adjust them like that. So our shifting thing is also done. Now I'll select all of them and I'll move them to 5 frames, so it will animate after these things like that. So let's see, you will get something like this, or you can move this over here only. Now this animation is done. Now I'll select all the alphabets, I'll press Ctrl Shift C, I'll call this as logo. I select all these ones and I'll call this as elements. Hit this logo. Now select both of them and I'll hit Ctrl D on them. Select this first one and I'll apply find edges effect on it like that. Let's hide this logo things first, and as you can see, we have applied this find edges effect, so we will get something like this, and we will move this to 5 frames like that. Then we will go we'll hide these things for now. We'll choose this logo. I'll select this logo and I'll move this over here. Then I'll select this logo layer and I'll apply find edges effect. We'll get this kind of animations. Now we will unreveal all the layers. We'll get something like this. Select this logo and bring this on the top of that. If you want, then you can shift this forward also, this element thing. Now right click new and create one null object, select all of them and make it parent with this null 2. Select this null 2, press S for scaling option and scale it down. So if you see this, we will get this kind of logo reveal over here. I'll move this over here and let's see. Now hit Ctrl A to select all of them, press Ctrl Shift C to copy, pre-compose. hit Ctrl D to duplicate, press S, scale it down to, let's say, -100. Press P for position and bring it down. Press S again and let's make it something like that and move this over here. Now apply Gaussian blur effect on it, and I'll increase the blurriness something like that. So if you see now, we'll get this kind of animations. So this is how you can create simple Google logo animation. Now press Ctrl Y to create the background layer. I'll bring it down. Go to the effect and presets panel and search for gradient ramp effect. Double click on it, swap these colors, and instead of black, I'll choose somewhere like this. Hit OK. I'll move this anchor point over here and this one over here, something like that. Yep, this looks good to me. So if you see now, you'll get something like this. So yep, this is the final animation of our logo. Now you can choose any logo and you can create this kind of cartoonish animations for your logo. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. If you like this tutorial, then please consider to subscribe this channel and also hit the bell icon to get more updates. Until then, stay tuned.